Okay, that is just absolutely freaky.
Well, he's highly intoxicated, to say the least. So, okay. All right. So yeah. So this is kind of putting everything together. So the Miller
How in the heck is there a tornado warning this
truck matching up
late at
description for the
night?
reporting party. The damn
Quarter-size hail. Source, radar indicated rotation. Impact, flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter.
Oh,
Mobile homes
Christ.
will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. This dangerous storm will be near Schwenksville and Springmount around 10:55 p.m. East Greenville, Green Lane, and Jerryville around 11 p.m. Souderton around 11:10 p.m. Quick Town and Percy around 11:15. Pleasant Valley around 11:20 p.m. Dublin around 11:25 p.m.
Yo,
Durham,
this crap is
Bedminster, Tinicum,
scary.
Ferndale, Pottsville, Pipersville, Revere, Gardendale, and Lumberville around 11:30 p.m. Other locations impacted by this
Look,
tornadic thunderstorm include Harlingsville, Boyertown and Hill, Freemansburg, Brittany Farms, Highlands, New Britain, Pinburg, Palmer Heights, and Coopersburg. Take cover now. Move to a basement or an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. Avoid windows. If you are outdoors, in a mobile home, or in a vehicle, move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris.
yo, this is
This
scaring
cluster
me
of
too.
thunderstorms is capable of producing tornadoes and widespread significant wind damage. Do not wait to see or hear the tornado.
My phone is
tracks, and the
probably going to
radar
be going
sweeps
off
on
here in a
here. So you
minute.
can see a little bit of rotation being detected on the radar in several spots. So we are going to watch this area here. One right here, one right here. So that first part of the storm in and around Pottstown, now into upper Montgomery County. So if you're, say, around Palm, if you're around East Greenville and Pennsburg and Red Hill, in that area, you want to be careful. And
This is scary crap. Oh my god.
The National Weather Service in Mount Holly, New Jersey has issued a tornado warning for East Central Berks County in
They
eastern
are awake.
Pennsylvania, northwestern Montgomery County in southeastern Pennsylvania, southeastern Lehigh County in eastern Pennsylvania, northwestern Bucks County in southeastern Pennsylvania, northeastern Chester County in southeastern Pennsylvania,
Yo,
south central Northampton County in eastern Pennsylvania, until 11:30 p.m. At 10:47 p.m., a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Gilbertsville, or 18 miles east of Reading, moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. Hazard, tornado and quarter-size hail. Source, radar indicated rotation. Impact, flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles
oops.
will occur. Tree damage is likely. This dangerous storm will be near Schwenksville and Springmount around 10:55 p.m. East Greenville, Green Lane, and Jerryville around 11 p.m. Souderton around 11:10 p.m. Quick Town and Percy around 11:50 p.m.
Kyle, what's up,
Pleasant
bud?
Valley around 11:20 p.m. Dublin around 11:25 p.m. Durham, Bedminster, Tinicum, Ferndale, Pottsville, Pipersville, Revere, Gardendale, and Lumberville around 11:30 p.m. Other locations impacted by this tornadic thunderstorm include Harlingsville,
If
Boyertown,
a
Pottsville,
twister touched
Red Hill,
down, then I'm running to the
Freemansburg,
basement.
Brittany Farms, Highlands, New Britain, Pinnsburg, Palmer Heights, and Coopersburg. Take cover now. Move to a basement or an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. Avoid windows. If you are outdoors, in a mobile home, or in a vehicle, move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris. This cluster of thunderstorms is capable of producing tornadoes and widespread significant wind damage. Do not wait to see or hear the tornado.
winds are pretty impressive, and some 60 to 70 mile per hour winds can
Dan,
easily cause some
I'll be
damage
fine,
and
okay?
some scattered power outages. Let's show you the most recent radar scan, and this may or may not show
Thanks for the
anything.
prayers.
It is November. Sometimes these scans aren't as impressive as they are like in a typical severe weather event in the summer. So what you're looking at here, storm velocity. This is a radar looking at winds inside a thunderstorm. And again, for a classic tornado
That is
signature,
not
you would
good.
see bright green and bright red almost right next to each other. You don't necessarily see that here, but you do see some pockets of some very bright green, indicative of some very strong winds up in the thunderstorm. And you get some heavy rain, you can get the rain to pull down those strong winds. They hit the ground and fan out in a straight line, and you get straight line wind damage. And that's essentially the only difference
I don't
between a
see any
tornado
lightning.
and straight line winds. Let's say a tornado hits a forest, the trees go in all different directions because the winds are going in all different directions. If a straight line winds hits a forest, all the trees go over in the same direction. The moral is trees still go over. So again, whether or not the winds are rotating or not, it's a very strong as possible. Southern Lehigh County, especially south of Route 22. Same deal in Northampton County, south of Route 22. And then Upper Bucksmont is where we're focused on now as well. Looks like Berks.
If it touches down, I'm running. I am running like mad to the basement.
Show you in case you're just tuning in.
I am going to pound on my parents' door as hard as I can, and I'm going right into the basement.
This rain. So here we go. Tornado warning right now. There are 2 of them currently in effect. The original one was down here in and around the Pottstown and Berks County and Chester County area. That one through 11 o'clock tonight. That one is set to expire, and most likely it will as the worst of the storm has moved up towards this area as well. So we're going to watch into northern eastern Lehigh County, or the southern Lehigh Valley, and then northern Bucksmont. That's where I'll ultimately watching for this new tornado warning. This is the most recent one through 11:30 night, through parts of Bucks, Lehigh, Montgomery, Northampton counties.
This suddenly popped up out of nowhere.
And Upper Bucksmont in this area. Some showers, some thunderstorms, some downpours, and some very strong damaging winds are possible in this line of storms. Hi. Hey, Rob. Hey, welcome to the green screen.
You precluded the rest of our newscast at 10:30 to 11, and the start, as you just said, at the big ticket. We haven't done this before, but I'm fascinated, and I know you have a lot to tell people. But I'm wondering, now that 11:30 has come into effect, all
Stop it.
red.
Stop it.
Right, sure. All that's red is where there's now a warning, right? And you have the chance, but we have no evidence of any kind of spinning wind at all.
Correct.
This
stupid. But it's tough at nighttime when it's pouring rain to actually say, hey, there's a tornado. So basically this is off the radar suggesting that a tornado is possible and a tornado can form.
Yeah. Where we've seen on some of the other graphics, the little spinny icon, that's also just suggesting that that's an area where this is possible, not that something is spinning at that spot.
Correct. That's when you see that spinning icon, and I'll get that up in 1 second, that's showing some spin higher up in the cloud. Now, in order for a tornado to form, you got to bring that spin high up in the cloud and bring it down to the ground. If it's up in the cloud, no one on the ground knows, but if it's brought down to the ground, then you start getting the destructive winds of a tornado. So
part of the trick of it being at night, I guess if that same dynamic was happening during the day, you might notice something that looks like the start of a funnel cloud, but when it's dark, there's no way to know until it actually were to touch down.
Correct, and that's where spotters, of course, come in, but of course this part of the country, especially in November, we don't have the Storm Chaser network they do in the Midwest. So basically we're relying on, weather watchers, and there are storm reporters for the National Weather Service that will report damage. Damage reports will come in. You see that line now, Rob? I mean, basically from, Allentown, Bethlehem, Easton, working its way through Upper Bucksmont, and then through Chester County. That's that impressive line. And you can see the lightning or the lack thereof. There aren't many little bolts here, so that's why these storms can kind of sneak up on you.
This is going to be
Usually in the
very
summertime,
scary.
you know thunderstorms are coming, you hear about them, you know, for 20, 30, 40 minutes, you hear the thunder rumbling, you see the skies get dark. Nighttime, this can be deceptive. People are going to bed, people are watching TV, they think it's just a rainy night, and then you get some possible destructive winds, or worst case, possibly a tornado.
November 2nd, so this is very strange. Is it dumb weather guy, non-expert question? It's just because it's so warm and kind of today?
Casey, and
The
Kyle.
hot and humid air in the summer.
Do you want me to remove you?
Same thing in November. You're not going to get this when it's 40 degrees out, but because it was 70 today, because it was humid, and you have a strong cold front and a lot of energy along that front, you do run chance of some severe weather. We had the forecast for a couple of storms, and we had
I need to
a
fix
chance
this
for a couple
stupid
severe storms.
sensitivity on this thing.
Tornadoes in November, even more rare than the tornadoes in October that we saw, and we saw a couple of those up in the Poconos in early October.
Right. The straight line winds are not necessarily so rare at this time, I guess. And we might feel some of those tonight, I suppose, and there would be quite a distinction between that and a storm that spins, right?
Correct. I mean, the winds can still, whether or not it's a tornado or a straight line, you can still get them over 70 miles an hour. And a 70-mile-an-hour wind that rotates, or a 70-mile-an-hour wind that blows in a straight line, is still a 70-mile-an-hour wind and can still cause some damage and destruction. So that's whether or not a tornado forms, whether or not a tornado is actually recorded. You can have what we call a microburst or some straight line wind damage, and that can be just as destructive. So the worst of these storms now, western Chester County, upper Montgomery County, in and around Milford Township and Quakertown in that area, and then along the I-78 corridor in Lehigh and in Northampton counties as well.
We both have people down in these areas. I just got on the phone with my wife to say, hey, this thing has now been extended into our part of the world here. What does that mean for anybody who's, I now am in the warning zone, I wasn't sure what to tell her. Just keep listening for something that sounds strange, and run to the basement if it does, or...
Right. Well, ultimately, you shouldn't even wait till it's out. I mean, if you are under a tornado warning, and I'm going to step off screen for a second, so you have complete control of the green screen just for now. And I do want to put up those tornado warnings. And if you are in a tornado warning, you ultimately do not want to wait for that freight train sound. Right. You want to basically just seek shelter now. So we have cleared Berks County. We've cleared the immediate Pottstown area on west because these storms are moving pretty quick. Right. But if you're in this area, and I know my cell phone was lighting up with my probably nervous wife at home, and haven't been able to answer it. But if she's watching, and most cell phones light up now automatically with the tornado warning.
True.
One great thing is hopefully you're watching 690 News, the AccuWeather channel. But if you're not, if you're out and about, tornado warnings are automatic. They will go just like an Amber Alert or whatnot, and you can just see as we're continuing to update it. So we are trimming it a little bit more. So now basically it's that northeast extension corridor to southern Lehigh County and Bucks and Montgomery County. A lot of upper Bucks now, and then the southern part of the Lehigh Valley, right along I-78, say from Salisbury Township and in towards Easton. But if you're in this area, you don't want to wait for that sound of that wind. You're not going to have a lot of warning necessarily. You want to just treat it like it's coming. Even though it's probably not for most of this red area, you want to treat it like it's coming.
So how do I treat
The National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning for the following Pennsylvania counties: Berks, Bucks, Chester, Lehigh, Montgomery, and Northampton, effective until 11:32 p.m. The National Weather Service in Mount Holly, New Jersey has issued a tornado warning for east central Berks County, in eastern Pennsylvania, northwestern Montgomery County, in southeastern Pennsylvania, southeastern Lehigh County, in eastern Pennsylvania, northwestern Bucks County, in southeastern Pennsylvania, northeastern Chester County, in southeastern Pennsylvania, south central Northampton County, in eastern Pennsylvania. Until 11:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. At 10:47 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Gilbertsville, or 18 miles east of Reading, moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. Hazard: tornado and quarter-size hail.
Source, radar indicated rotation. Impact, flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. This dangerous storm will be near Schwainsville and Springmount around 10:55 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. East Greenville, Green Lane, and Garyville around 11 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Souderton around 11:10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Quakertown and Perkasie around 11:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Pleasant Valley around 11:20 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Dublin around 11:25 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Byron, Bedminster, Teenicum, Ferndale, Ottsville, Pipersville, Revere, Gardenville, and Lumberville around 11:30.
What in the world?
So again, this area is what we're watching right now. First tornado warning came out down here, just west of Pottstown, eastern Berks County earlier this evening,
Just
and
keeps
then
coming
worked its
east.
way east. These storms are moving pretty quickly, so usually when you get these straight line winds or you get these destructive winds or a possible tornado, it lasts like a minute or two. I mean, they move through very, very quickly, but they could pack a punch when they do move.
In fact, I had not noticed that your whole red zone here had shifted east while I came out here. Just noticed the Berks County and northern Montgomery. Let's see where if I can find northern Montgomery right about there.
There you are. Yep.
And that had been in the red, but it eventually just shifted. So within a few more minutes, presumably, I guess before 11:30, we might see some more shifting of that whole red zone to the east.
Yeah, I mean, the National Weather Service constantly updates these. Our weather computers will trim these live on the air. So if areas are cleared, if the warning is canceled because these storms weaken, then we'll see an update live on air. Here's your most recent radar, and I'll step off in a second and put the sweeps and see if there are any spinning icons. But you can see the strongest storms now from Easton to Quakertown down to about Coatesville. You know, lines still intact. You know, maybe perhaps weakening a little bit. You're in the clear now, Reading, Allentown, north and west. It's this area through upper Bucksmont, maybe into northwestern New Jersey, that we are going to have to watch.
So it's super helpful to see, and people can see this on their phones obviously as well, where you have the dark spots. That's the area where there's a potential for some trouble. And the dark spots you can just track as they move along, so that, for example, now Pottstown's completely out of the dark red and just sort of in a yellow-brown area. They may still have rain, but they're past the danger, it would seem, real bad storm.
Correct. And what the heavy rain does in a severe weather event like this is the winds are blowing pretty strong higher up. I mean, if you go up in an airplane, you know, winds are blowing hot. There's no friction up in the upper atmosphere. Yep. So the higher up you go, the faster those winds are. What these heavier colors do, these heavier reflectivities, they actually help to bring those strong winds down to the ground. So just like, you know, I mean, a really heavy rain can kind of, you know, weigh down on you. Well, really heavy rain can take the strong winds high above the ground and bring them down to the ground. So a lot of the times you are going to see the strongest winds and the damage reports come where these brightest colors are.
Well, my wife did tell me a few minutes ago she was out driving, and of course it was really difficult because it was really coming down. I mean, if you're out doing that, it's so hard. You obviously want to pull over, tornado warning or no, but if you were also happen to be aware of there's a tornado warning in the area, is pulling over the best thing to do as opposed to, you know, plowing through to get home? I wonder.
I think it depends as to where you are. You know, if you have a knowledge of which way the storm's moving, and most drivers do not. You don't know if you're driving into the tornado or the worst of the storm. If you're following it as it moves northeast at 30 miles an hour, and you're driving northeast at 30 miles an hour, so unless you have the knowledge,
with it the whole way, then, which you don't want to. Yeah.
Right, you don't want to do that. You want to head away from the storm, and most people driving don't necessarily have that idea of, you know, okay, which way should I head? So what we're going to do,
or do they just think, let me drive west? That might take care of the problem for me, or at least take care of my problem faster.
Correct.
Yeah.
There you go. So there's our recent sweep radar, Rob. And again, this has lightning, and this has any possible rotation. And what you see a lack of is lightning with this. So again, these are quote-unquote thunderstorms, because there has been a couple lightning strikes, but this is not your typical summertime thunderstorm where it's going to rumble and rumble 20 minutes before the storm, light up like crazy during the storm and after. There's your rotation right now, or a little possible rotation. This has been basically the same storm. It started down here, south and west of Pottstown, and it's the same exact storm. It's now over far southern Lehigh, far upper Bucks, maybe lower Milford Township, and there it is.
To reiterate for me, this thing here that's spinning means there's possible rotation there, not that they're getting it, right?
Correct. There's possible rotation, not on the ground, but possible rotation up in the cloud, and you need something to organize and bring that rotation down. Now, whether or not the rotation comes down in these bright echoes here, you can still get the strong, what we call straight line winds, 60, 70 miles an hour. So it's upper Bucks County right now, right along 309 corridor, through Springfield, Richland Townships, working your way through Quakertown. That's the area under the gun. It does extend a little farther north and east, and you still got some heavy rain down here. The severe threat seems to be focused here now in upper Bucks.
Do things go pretty steadily east, or does it depend? It almost looks like northeast, and if so, is this red area possibly going to affect some of the areas already affected as it sweeps up?
Good questions. The movement on these storms are generally to the north and east. So we've been tracking this particular area of rotation, from here. So over the last, say, 40 minutes, it's moved northeasterly. This stuff down here would also move northeasterly. So this wouldn't necessarily get the same areas. This stuff now you see over northern Chester County, this would most likely be bound for central and lower parts, maybe central parts, Montgomery and Bucks County as well. So this stuff here might be for, say, Lansdale, working your way towards Doylestown. So everyone's fair game for shower downpour, severe weather tonight. This is the area that's most concerning right now.
Sure. When the alarms went off, I forget what time it was, 10:40-ish, maybe, something like that?
Yeah, about 10:35, 10:40 for the first tornado warning, which was down
for the first one. When that happens, how does the National Weather Service determine that? Have they had somebody call, hey, something's spinning, or it's just a data that they have?
Right.
Millibars, pressure, all that stuff.
You actually answered that. You answered the question yourself.
Thank you very much.
It's actually both. Tornado warnings can only be issued one of two ways. Number one, law enforcement, storm spotter, someone sees a tornado on the ground, there's visual confirmation, and they'll put that in the warning. They'll say, law enforcement has spotted a tornado here, it's moving this way. And those are the easiest tornado warnings to issue because you have visual proof.
Right.
Most tornado warnings fall under the other category, and it's radar indicated rotation. So it's radar suggests a tornado could form at any time. Take cover, treat it like a tornado is on the ground. But most of our tornado warnings are radar indicated just because, again, we don't get that many and we don't have the storm spotters. And, there's a lot of real estate to cover in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, and we just don't have that network. So these are radar indicated rotations right now.
Yeah, we haven't had, to my knowledge, although I haven't been able to talk to the newsroom since I came out here, any calls to say, hey, we have bunches of trees down, or I think something's spinning, anything like that. You don't have any suggestions?
Not yet, and I haven't been able to, and you guys are more than welcome
The what?
to email weather@wfmc.com if you lost your power.
Water over there. It's not even funny.
Storm spotters that tell us how much snow is falling. In severe weather situations, again, we don't expect to have to call upon you in early November.
No, there's
when,
not
we're supposed to be
like
getting ready for, 50s and sunshine, not 70 in severe weather. But in early November, if you do have damage, if you've heard something,
No,
if
not
you
really.
have no
They came up
power,
like,
I guess it's tough to email on your computer.
No, I told you, it was going on. I was watching the race, and it interrupted the race for the tornado warning in Chester, Berks, and Bucks.
okay.
And then like 20 minutes later is when it came over for the Lehigh, and that's when you came in. I already knew that there was bad weather going on.
I didn't get anything about Berks, Chester.
Well, it didn't come over the phone because it's not Lehigh County. But the water out by the tee box,
Yeah.
it's bad. I can see it from here. It's
really
high.
That's about another 15 minutes. So Mark will be in the clear.
Right, our
Eastern
backyard
Berks
is like
County
really
in the
flooding.
clear.
No.
But it's these
By
areas
the
here,
tee box.
Upper Bucks specifically, in
that
and
didn't
around
go
Richmond,
right.
Quakertown, you saw that spin. Far southern Lehigh County, and the part of Montgomery County right along that northeast extension. Basically, that construction zone right there, that's the area we're watching for the most recent tornado warning.
I think we have Mark. Yeah. You there, Mark? Mark Sugar. Lost him.
We lost Mark. Well, hopefully that's not
a bad sign of some kind. Yeah, but he's down in, let's see if I can do this right. He's down, way down this way toward.
He'd be down somewhere
Just
in here.
north of
I don't
us.
want to give Mark Schenberg his address.
That's right. Don't point at his house.
I'd
But
get in
he's
trouble if I did that. But he's in this area here, and this was one of the areas under the tornado warning. You know, and I can tell you, I mean, my wife is sitting here in Upper Montgomery County, and I have not been able to talk to her to see what exactly went through. We have two dogs who are very scared of storms.
Yeah. So when something like this happens, here you go. The first report, it does not mean, as we are seeing with the movement east, that west of that, before that alarm went off, they had a tornado warning. The tornado threat could pop up in that spot, right?
Correct. And we've seen tornadoes too. I mean, if there's a tornado warning here, it does not mean that a tornado stays on the ground for the entire time. Right. Tornadoes are very, very short-lived in the time they're on the ground. We saw that with the Pocono tornado earlier in October. We saw a tornado touch down in Carbon County, lift up, and then touch down in a different part of Carbon County. Same storm, but the tornado was on the ground for about a mile. It skipped about 10 miles, and then it went down another mile. Yeah, that's what tornadoes can do. And then I think that same storm went up into Sussex County in northwestern New Jersey and, you know, tried to form another one. So most likely, you know, you're not going to get a long-lived, long-track tornado with this type of situation. You'll get one that's on the ground for a little bit, and then maybe farther down the road, if the spin reorganizes, you can actually get another one. So there were several tornado warnings issued tonight. Whether or not there's actually confirmed tornadoes, I think you have to wait till daylight.
Right.
If there is, the National Weather Service will send out crews, survey the damage, and say it was a tornado, or it was a microburst, or it was a straight line wind, or whatever the case may be.
You have a long career doing this kind of thing, and you're very familiar with how it all works. But I'm wondering if you've been out that whole next day, look at the damage thing. Have you had a chance?
I actually have. Down in Cape May County in New Jersey, I actually went on a storm survey, which was really cool. The National Weather Service, actually in Mount Holly, covers New Jersey, covers basically most of our area. Yeah. And they have a great team of meteorologists. They will go out, they'll look at which way the tree snapped, they'll look at the damage path, where the damage ended up, and that's how they estimate. I mean, you have no wind instrument in the path of a tornado that can tell you exactly how fast the winds are. But what you can do is you can look at the damage, you can analyze the damage, and you can
Allentown is on the very edge
in a tornado in this part
of the corner, like right in here. That's Allentown right there.
It's an EF0, EF1,
That's where I live, right there.
Winds.
We're on the very edge of the tornado warning.
Mark Schenberger in the Clare in eastern Berks County. I think we have him with us. Hey, Mark.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Good. Hey, he even got me in front of the green screen for a few minutes tonight. So
yes, I've seen that. You look very impressive. I just was calling up to say, Dan, one of those text messages you received was actually from me. I had woke up. I had fallen asleep with my daughter and woke up to wind and rain like I had never heard. That actually passed over us. We live in Douglasville, just north of Pottstown.
Yeah, so Mark's right about down here.
And as that storm passed over, I ran downstairs and said, it sounds like a tornado is outside right now. And my wife said, you're under a tornado warning.
That's quite a rude awakening, right?
Yeah, it was incredible, to say the least. The rain is now just incredible. I know there is a flash flood warning going on for the area, and I'm here to tell you that roads are flooded. I tried to get out a little bit around my house just to see if there was any damage. A lot of leaves down, but no visible damage at this hour around my house. We live about 10 miles southwest of Gilbertsville. And so no noticeable damage, but a lot of leaves down. Roads are very slick because of that, and if they're not slick, they're covered with water. Water and rain, I've never seen it.
Our backyard is flooded.
I try not to talk like this.
Our backyard is flooded.
Hyping up storms and hyping up situations isn't good for anybody. This is one of those situations where I was legitimately scared. And like I said, the flash flooding that's going on right now around Berks County, around where I'm at, Berks County, Chester County, and that little tri-county area
Alright, the
right
tee
there.
box behind our house is completely flooded.
It's pretty impressive, the rainfall amount that has come down.
The tee box behind our house is
Let me
completely
ask you,
flooded.
Mark, I mean, a lot of noise, it's kind of a cliche, say it sounds like a freight train. I mean, did you get that
Where do you see a funnel?
Yeah.
when you woke up? I mean, is that it?
I didn't
Cat
know
Locks
what was going on.
5644
Like I
games
said,
was up.
I usually sit down with my daughter and go to bed with her. This is one of the exceptions where I did not have my phone on me when I lay down. I usually have it in my pocket and woke up to the noise. And that's exactly what it sounded like.
And I thought it was kind of interesting that it was the meteorologist's wife informing the meteorologist that we were under a tornado warning. But you were occupied and you didn't have your phone. It makes sense.
Daniel, you'll be fine, okay?
Yeah, I mean, but again, waking up to that noise immediately, that was my first thought, was this sounds like a tornado. And it was extensive. It lasted, the wind and the rain like that lasted for about 5 or 6 minutes after I woke up.
Are things calm now?
They are, and I said to her, "Do you hear the difference?" And there was a noticeable difference between when that had passed over us and when that was passing over us to just a few minutes later when it was just heavy rain.
Right, it is really quick. We've been kind of stressing that too. Let me ask you, there's very few lightning strikes with this, so we've been trying to stress to people along the path.
Daniel, that's not funny. When you put a funnel in
hearing the rain, you think nothing's going on. You're not going to get the.
If you use a warning and if you say, funnel somewhere, that's not funny.
On you really quick.
Exactly, and there was no lightning whatsoever out ahead of it. Now, one of the things that is scariest is when you get these tornado warnings at night, and they can sometimes, if you do have a tornado, it can obviously knock out the
It's
power.
alright, just don't do it again.
Heavy rain, and you're traveling to an area that has no light, and now has washed out roadways or trees down or whatever in a roadway, and people may not be aware of that. I traveled a little bit outside of my house after I knew the threat was gone from my specific location, and 724, very close to where I live, was watched out in multiple locations. And again, you don't have a whole lot of light right now except for your headlights. So, I had to turn around in a number of locations, and now I'm sitting on the side of the road, very close to my home. But there was a number of locations where it was washed out across the roadway, and that is another concern.
Just to show you this something real quick.
People that are out and about, and this is a Friday night, 11 o'clock.
Tornado warning, flash flood warning,
There is a situation
aerial
where
flood
tornado
warning,
and there is power out. They're not going to have the lights that were there.
flood warning.
Roadways are flooded, trees are down. If that's the case, in some locations, it could be.
Now this is my area, this is for me. Dan, this is not for you, this is for me. I have tornado warning, I have a severe thunderstorm warning, flash flood warning.
About power outages yet, but we may in fact have some newsrooms working.
Aerial flood advisory, aerial flood warning.
Touchdowns or not, I mean, there have been some very strong winds with the storm. Trees still have a lot of leaves on them, and I'd imagine there would be some power outages really through that whole line. The worst of the line where Mark is right now, it's some rain, and like Mark said, flooding will be the lingering threat once the severe threat has passed. This is your squall line now through Chester County, approaching the northeast extension of Montgomery County, through Upper Bucks and into northwestern New Jersey. I'm going to step off screen. update the warnings for you, and we'll see. We're coming up on 11:30. That's when
That's when
the
it
lingering
expires.
tornado warning does expire.
Yeah,
But
but we haven't heard anything about an extension into New Jersey or anything yet.
Well, I'm gonna pop up the.
Now it moved into a different county, so this is why this is happening.
A tornado warning has been issued for Bucks County, Chester County, Delaware County, Montgomery County, and Philadelphia County, effective until 12:23 a.m.
If there's a tornado on the ground, even if there's not, like Mark said, you're going to get this wall of wind, sound like you never heard before, and that can cause some damage. And the tornado warning does extend to a lot of lower Montgomery County now, northern suburbs of Philadelphia, right along the 276 corridor down here as well.
Yeah. Well, people
The National Weather Service in Mount Holly, New Jersey has issued a tornado warning for southeastern Montgomery County in southeastern Pennsylvania, southeastern Bucks County in southeastern Pennsylvania, east central Chester County in southeastern Pennsylvania, northern Philadelphia County in southeastern Pennsylvania, northern Delaware County in southeastern Pennsylvania, until 12:15 a.m. At 11:22 p.m., a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over West Norriton, or 15 miles northwest of Philadelphia, moving east at 40 miles per hour. Hazard, tornado. Source, radar indicated rotation. Impact, flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. This dangerous storm will be near Chestnut Hill around 11:30 p.m. Lansdale and Ambler around 11:35 p.m. Jenkintown, Chalfont and Abington around 11:40 p.m. Hatboro, Bremerton and Willow Grove around 11:45 p.m. Philadelphia, Ibelin and Feasterville around 11:50 p.m. Langmore, Rickboro and Feasterville Traverse around 11:55 p.m. New Hope, Newtown and Langhorne around midnight. Leathertown around 12:05 a.m. Other locations impacted by this tornadic thunderstorm include Churchville, Holmesville, Horsham, Evansburg, Fort Washington, Bridgeport, Blue Bell, Maple Glen, Eagleville, and Fleurtown. Take cover now. Move to a basement or an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. Avoid windows. If you are outdoors, in a mobile home, or in a vehicle, move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris. This cluster of thunderstorms is capable of producing tornadoes and widespread significant wind damage. Do not wait to see or hear the tornado. For your protection, move to an
some good signature, some bright reds right next to some green in those locations, and you're seeing some bright reds down around the skipback area as well.
people need to be on their guard still in those areas.
Yeah, basically the whole area Mark's been highlighting these warnings here. You can kind of see these where the greens and reds come close together. That's what you're looking for, that classic signature where the winds may be rotating. And we're watching this product in addition to the regular radar we show you all the time.
Wow, what a night! What a surprise, right? I mean, this was the potential, obviously, with this kind of weather, but still, earlier in the day, it's not like we would say tonight looks like it might be a tornado potential night.
No, Mark and I were highlighting the marginal risk, meaning the chance of a couple of showers and thunderstorms that could produce some damaging winds. Do we expect tornado warnings from Berks County, through Bucksmont, Lehigh Valley? No, you never expect that.
Sure.
But the potential for a couple of strong storms, Mark and I have been talking about for a couple of years.
So
All right.
30 seconds till 11:30. That means the warning that includes some of the Lehigh Valley proper is going to go away in a few seconds. What does that mean, guys, in the control room for the big ticket and our plans from here?
Okay, I didn't know if that was south of my location or if that was north, so I'm not familiar where Birchboro is, so
until these tornado warnings are clear, until that threat of a tornado has ended. And of course, my director or producer can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
And I believe the big ticket
will follow whenever it is we are in the clear to go off the air with the tornado warning coverage.
So there you can see that northern tornado warning for Upper Bucks, lower Lehigh Valley, that just cleared. Must be 11:30, and it is. But this one's still in effect for central Bucksmont right now, central and lower Bucks and Montgomery counties. You know, Mark was saying that rotation that does show up. You know, you're still getting that down here. So that's the tornado warning we have now. Although I wouldn't let your guard down in those storms that were under the warning here. You know, sometimes they can reorganize, and you can see a warning pop up farther downstream into northwestern New Jersey. So I would say, you know, folks in northwestern New Jersey, you're still going to get the heavy rain, you're still going to get some strong winds, and there is the potential for a warning or two, you know, until this line shows some significant signs of weakening.
So Bucks, Chester, Delaware, and Montgomery now. Mark, didn't mean to cut you off.
You were mentioning, and Dan was mentioning as well, oftentimes you do not see storm systems like this in November, but one thing that I will say is that when you get a very warm day like this and you have a cold front right after that warm day, it's usually followed by some very cold air. Very similar signatures are seen in the months of April and May, which are typically considered the months for severe weather. And this was a situation where we knew we were going to have a strong southwesterly wind at ahead of this cold front, and it would be switching to westerly or northwesterly in the wake. We would have very cold air initially.
We're going to stay live for a bit.
At a completely opposite direction. And oftentimes when you have that nature where you have the warm interacting with the cold.
I use Service Electric. It's on channel 8. I'm not sure what RCN or DirecTV is.
Thunderstorm outbreaks.
It's so strange to have it in early November. I was going to say October, so we're already into November.
And you sometimes get a second severe weather season in October into early November. And actually, Mark, I mean, in our 7-day forecast, we have another very strong cold front. And I don't want to imply that we're going to be doing this again next week. You know, next Tuesday evening and night, we're going to have another strong cold front. And we're hopefully not, although, you know, I think down south they're going to get ready for a pretty significant severe weather outbreak early next week. But, you know, Mark is absolutely right. October, November, a little spike of a second season sometimes.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, you know what? The Phantoms are doing terrible.
Season's over. Northern jet is trying to work its way south, and that possesses that colder air. And when they oftentimes you will have these severe weather outbreaks, whether it's in September, October, or even into early November, or in the months of April and May when you're trying to go from winter to the summer season.
Absolutely right.
And now, to use non-meteorological terms, some of the big red blotches, like right here, seem to have moved east, but am I spying another one over there to the west?
This would just be some stratiform moderate to heavy rain. So Mark's again reporting just north of Pottstown. He's in a little bit of a lull in the rain. Likely, if this holds together, the rain picks up again. This probably would not have any severe weather. You look for the severe weather on the leading edge of, on the right side, if you will, of these, you know, in a situation like this. So here's our squall line, and this part of the line that prompted the initial warnings has weakened a little bit, you know, per these radar signatures. So it's crossing the river into northwestern New Jersey. No warnings with this, but some heavy rain, some gusty winds still possible. This is the part of the line, the big red blotch. I like the term. It works because it's exactly what it is. But you can see this is the part that actually looks the most impressive, and sure enough, it matches up with where that tornado warning is right now through central and lower Montgomery, central and lower Bucks County for this part of the line.
A flash flood warning has been issued for our area.
This at all? It's a fairly large body of water's got to go across, or is that just?
It does not. I mean, hypothetically, if you have a tornado in Pennsylvania and it crosses the Delaware River, while it's over the river, it will become a waterspout. And it will pick up some of the river water, and then it makes landfall in New Jersey, and it becomes a tornado again. We saw that one time up in Massachusetts, Connecticut River, big river, tornado went right across the river. So
For a moment, while it's over water, it's a water spout.
it's a water spout, but usually it's over the river for such a short period of time, it's not going to have any impact on the on the storm. And we're not saying there is a tornado on any river right now. We have a tornado warning for, what Mark has indicated. What we've been showing you is radar indicated rotation for this part of the line, central and lower Buxmont, right now till about 12:15. If you're in that area, we'll pull up the warning again in a second. You want to seek shelter. Part of your house, basement, away from windows, interior walls of your house are safest to be in.
Mark, you
Yeah,
still there?
right now,
Okay.
the areas that I'm seeing is right around the Lansdale area, right around North Wales. I don't know if you're seeing that.
No,
as
I'm
well,
gonna
Dan.
try to
Yeah,
see
I'm
if
going
I
to
can
pull
get
that
on
up as
county
you
frequency.
mentioned that. And the great thing is,
About here, right? I think, in that area where you have a kind of a dark spot. Or this way. See how bad this is difficult, folks, to do the green screen thing, as they say. Make sure you're pointing at the right things. But Mark, you're talking about the Lansdale area. That's a place where it's a prime spot at the moment for some trouble.
Yeah, that looks like an area where you're seeing some bright reds. Even more specifically down around North Wales, might be an area where you're seeing some bright greens and some bright reds right next to each other. And again, what you're seeing there is winds that are moving away and winds that are moving towards right next to each other, which indicates that there's the possibility of some rotation.
right, and then this is the area we're watching that Mark is highlighting. Absolutely, east of the Pennsylvania Turnpike, west of 209. I mean, right what Mark said, Lansdale to North Wales, this area right in here. This storm's working its way east and will cross over into Bucks County, so in and around, let's say, Hatfield, and working your way along that 309 corridor, north of Hatfield and Montgomeryville, this area. Radar indicated rotation, but definitely still there. A little bit of rotation also along the Delaware River here, crossing over the I-78 corridor into Hunterdon County and Warren County in northwestern New Jersey. We'll keep an eye on that. Nothing warning or no warnings are currently with those storms as they cross into New Jersey.
I was going to walk out for a second and go to the news.
No, I'm not calling 911. It's my fire scanner.
Came to me, and nicely enough.
We have a great newsroom.
And yes, we do. And interestingly enough, as you're talking about Montgomery County and North Wales and that whole area, that is where we have by far more power outages at the moment. About 4,700 power customers in Montgomery County. 1,800 have lost power at the moment.
I was just typing the frequency into a scanner just to activate the frequency in my county.
That's good.
And so far it doesn't want to work at the moment.
But Montgomery, where
The frequency is probably down at the moment.
Are almost 5,000 outages.
And they were under and they still are, they were under the gun longer. The storms, western Berks County missed out on the most intense storms. The tornado warnings first popped up right around where Mark is in southeastern Berks County along the Route 100 corridor, and the storms, intensifying a little bit as they work their way east. So no surprise that Buxmont, maybe Lehigh, Northampton counties would be where those winds were maybe a little more organized or perhaps a little more widespread over bigger parts of the county.
I have not heard from the newsroom anything about beyond outages in terms of damage or particular flooding spots. But those kind of things, with the way it was coming down, I was out earlier about 7:30. It was coming down so hard that immediately small rivers form on the side of the roads, and those can be trouble. And of course, we always say if you come across a large spot and you can't tell the depth of the water, there's a lot of water in front of you, it's best not to try to plow through.
Yeah, you turn around, don't drown. And I think, Mark stressed that earlier too.
Everybody said, turn around, don't drown.
The severe threat will last for, a matter of minutes as it comes through your house, comes through your neighborhood, comes through your town. But the heavy rain threat is an ongoing threat because the rain doesn't instantly end when this, tornado warning ends or when the severe threat passes. You still probably have a few hours worth of some heavy rain. We've already seen 1 to 2 inches of rain in a short amount of time. And while it was a very wet summer and we've managed to dry things out a little bit since then, a few inches of rain in a very short period of time, leaves clogging storm drains or areas that would normally flood anyway, you can get some flash flooding. on area roadways, and that will be the lingering threat once this tornado threat passes.
I suppose if some people are just tuning in now, what is it, 11:40, expecting to see some football, and finding out just now that we have a warning, maybe just going to recap where we are with the warning and the location.
Yeah, absolutely. So in case you are just tuning in, the big ticket will be seen in its entirety immediately following our severe weather coverage. Sounds weird to say that in November, but we do have severe weather. We have a tornado warning. We've had a flurry of them this evening. I think this is the fourth one that has been issued for parts of our viewing area. So let's show you the tornado warning we have right now, and this is for parts of Bucks and Montgomery County through about 12:15, so about another 35 minutes. And this includes central parts of Montgomery, central parts of Bucks County, storms moving to the east and northeast at about 20 miles an hour. We had initial tornado warnings in and around the Pottstown area, the Route 100 corridor in eastern Berks County. Those tornado warnings were extended through upper Bucksmont. Reports of power outages from our newsroom in these areas. Also, southern Lehigh Valley, mainly along and south of the I-78 corridor, also under tornado warnings earlier. Now, whether or not tornadoes touch down, that's something that we're not probably going to be able to answer tonight. If there is a concentrated area of damage, the National Weather Service will send storm crews out. If you are in this area, you want to seek shelter. So if you are in the Lansdale area, through Northampton, through the central part of Bucks County, along the 202 corridor on the north side, and about the 276 corridor, PA Turnpike, on the south side, that you want to seek shelter inside, basement, lowest part of your house, away from windows, and treat it as if a tornado is on the ground, even if one isn't necessarily confirmed. There's very little lightning with these storms, so these storms can sneak up on you, produce a very heavy rain. It's been raining a lot of the night, and then all of a sudden a wall of wind. We have confirmation that it does sound like a freight train from Mark Shannon, and probably from our wives. Once we do talk to them, we can get a chance to talk as well. That's right. So these storms can be deceptively quick up on you because it's nighttime and because there is very little thunder and lightning with these storms.
Yeah, Dan, and one of the things that you just mentioned is the confirmation of the tornado. Because of the time of day that this is happening, because it is night, it's going to be very difficult to see.
Does anyone like Oreos? Who likes Oreos?
The rain was very heavy in with this as it moved through, so it's very likely that they were rain wrapped if they did form and if there were funnel clouds. So even more difficult to tell what the situation was as far as whether it was an actual funnel cloud or tornado touching down. So again, it's going to be one of those situations where the damage will indicate what has happened.
The only way to know is after the fact, right?
Right, yeah.
Out in the daylight and see what happened.
And what you can do is you can contact the National Weather Service. You can contact your local emergency management office, and if there's very concentrated, if there's a neighborhood, or if there's part of a township or a borough that the damage seems to be concentrated in, they'll determine if they're going to send out one of those storm survey crews to survey the damage, and they'll tell you. It was rotating, it was a tornado, or it was a microburst, and it was straight line winds. And I always find, I went out on these storm survey.
I would think it's a microburst.
And we found it was a microburst with 90-mile-per-hour winds. And people were kind of mad/depressed. It wasn't a tornado.
They wanted to say they
wanted a tornado. And I always say straight line winds can actually be worse because a tornado will affect one neighborhood. Straight line winds can affect a much larger area because they can occur in a much bigger line. So just because you don't get that tornado distinction, it doesn't mean that you didn't live through a pretty powerful storm.
Well, I had siding off my house a couple of years ago, and the winds were, I don't think they exceeded 60-some. So imagine at 90, a straight line wind, so all the trouble that could cause.
And these radar estimates are for at least 70-mile-an-hour winds. Remember, hurricane force is 74. So these are powerful potential winds, whether they blow straight or circular. This is the part of the line we're watching now, right through central Bucksmont. Some storms up in our, I don't want to say storms because there's not a lot of lightning. You're not going to have a traditional thunderstorm, but let's say some heavy, gusty downpours possible through northwestern New Jersey, but it's this part of the line through
Catwalks.
Bucksmont, central parts of Bucks and Montgomery counties that we're watching.
Hope you get power back really soon.
Red, this looks a little ominous, but this heavy rain through Berks and Lancaster counties right now.
Summertime, you get a lot of hail. Is that a possibility in this kind of weather system?
There could be. I haven't seen a lot of hail signatures. And Mark, you probably have your phone out in every single radar mode possible, and probably know more than me as far as the hail goes. I haven't switched the radar to hail signature. I know the Weather Service said that hail's a possibility, but I would imagine wind would be the bigger threat with this.
Certainly, certainly a possibility. I haven't seen any signatures to this point. Again, as you mentioned, Dan, contacting the National Weather Service with any information you have, contacting us with any information you have. Again, it's going to be very difficult for them to decipher, and it also oftentimes is, even if you do have video and pictures, it's very difficult to decipher whether that's funnel cloud that actually made a touchdown. This is not a big ticket reference when I say touchdown, but I mean making it to the ground.
Though. It's nice.
Making it to the ground, and so it can be very difficult because we live in an area where a picture of just of a tornado or a funnel cloud just a few 100 yards away may have a hill and a little bit of valley. So it can make it very difficult to see if it's actually made its way completely to the ground. But if you do have, if you were out in this unfortunate situation this evening and you do have video and you do have pictures of the situation, that information is invaluable. There's no price tag that they can put on that because you're talking about people that were affected by this, insurance purposes, everything else. Those pictures and that information, if you can get it to us, we will make sure it gets into the right hands. So certainly feel free to email us at weather@wfmv.com or tweet us or put it on our Facebook pages. Any of that information, again, we will make sure that it gets in the right hands in a situation like this because especially at the time of the day that this occurred, it's going to be very difficult for them to determine what it was, whether it was a tornado, whether it was straight line winds, whether it was a microburst. And again, those microbursts, they can be extremely impressive and have very similar characteristics to a tornado because they do spread debris in multiple directions, whereas straight line winds, it's one direction most of the time. Those microbursts can to spread things in different directions in a very short area or very short distance.
How calm is it where you are now, an hour after the first warning? An hour after it, again, there's a lot of leaves down. It's probably a moderate rain now, but it was quite impressive to look outside, and I saw rain in my backyard and a river basically, or a stream through my backyard that I've never seen rain like that accumulate in, and that led to roadways being washed out in my immediate area. So, and again, one of the things that we have, the issues that we have right now is you got the leaves coming down. So you have storm drains that are getting clogged up by these leaves that are coming down because of the strong winds and the heavy rain. And now you got a situation where flooding is occurring in areas that it doesn't normally occur. People are driving through. The lighting's not as good. Power may be out in that particular neighborhood, and they're coming up on a roadway that is completely flooded.
And this is where Mark is right here in far eastern Berks, so some light to moderate rain. What I did here, guys, this is a 2-hour loop, so this kind of shows you the start of the event and where we are now. So you watch back here where the first warning went into effect. You can see that line organizing, not a lot of lightning strikes with this, and then the line lifting to the north and east and getting upper Bucksmont, southern Lehigh, southern Northampton counties, and where the worst of that is right now. A little less impressive, but there's still been some rotation with this, and this is still very capable of producing some strong and damaging winds, possible rotation, and possible additional Tornado warnings could be issued depending on how this line now through central Bucksmont holds together. But these are your last 2 hours. Problems starting in eastern Berks, far western Montgomery, northern Chester counties, and then lifting to the north and east. That initial cluster has weakened a little bit. Now it's up towards Hunter and Warren counties. This is your warned cluster now through central Bucks and Montgomery counties.
It makes me wonder if they had any trouble with some of these football games tonight. We'll be bringing you the big ticket after this coverage, but I know some of the games were canceled. I think primarily where the fields were grass and not an artificial turf. But well, then again, if compared to a summer storm, though, you did not have lightning, so it would just be a heavy rain problem tonight, I guess.
Yeah, I know football. The only time it's absolutely canceled, everywhere across the board for safety is due to lightning. So necessarily there hasn't been a lot of lightning with these storms. There's been a couple of strikes here and there, but for as intense as these storms look on radar, and for apparently what they're doing on the ground, because regardless of tornado or not, you're getting the reports of power outages. You're hearing, Mark say. And Mark, and he said it, and I will totally vouch for it. He's not one to hype one up. I mean, he's the most level-headed, tell it as it is type of meteorologist you've ever met. And I try to echo that as well. So, I mean, Mark says, it was nothing like he's seen. Then,
yeah, well, I was so
Yep, we're doing okay.
by what you said about the sound. We always hear about
Let's see, I do not know who sent that.
And you heard the sound, right?
Yeah, and I was woken up by it, like I said, and I immediately thought, is there a tornado or is there a tornado warning for our area where it's just extremely strong winds? One of the areas that I want to point out as I'm looking at the radar is just kind of northeast. It is under that tornado warning of Doylestown. Again, that's another area that all of a sudden you're seeing, as Dan was mentioning earlier, things kind of subsiding and then reforming. You're seeing some possible rotation there with the cell that is just kind of east of Dublin, kind of northeast of the Doylestown area, and traveling off to the north and the east.
Yeah, and our radar makes it simple. You've been seeing, one of these rotating icons, indicating some rotation. This is a very well-organized rotation, as Mark said, in central Bucks County, and right where Mark said, just northeast of Doylestown, south of Plumstead, working its way towards the river. And this definitely capable of producing some very strong damaging winds and perhaps a tornado at any time. Tornado warnings, you want to treat the
National Weather Service in Mount Holly, New Jersey has issued a tornado warning for southeastern Hunterdon County in northwestern New Jersey, northwestern Mercer County in central New Jersey, Somerset County in northern New Jersey, north central Middlesex County in northern New Jersey, central Bucks County in southeastern Pennsylvania until 12:30 a.m. At 11:49 p.m., a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Gardenville, or 20 miles northwest of Trenton, moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. Hazard, tornado. Source, radar indicated rotation. Impact, flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. This dangerous storm will be near Durham and Lumberville around 11:55 p.m. New Hope, Stockton, and Cowena around midnight. Sargentville around 12:05 a.m. Sandbrook around 12:10 a.m. Flemington around 12:15 a.m. Clover Hill around 12:20 a.m. Bellmead around 12:25 a.m. Somerville, Bridgewater, Manville, Flagtown, and White House Station around 12:30 a.m. Other locations impacted by this tornadic thunderstorm include South Bound Brook, Raritan, Lombardville, and Bernardsville. Take cover now. Move to a basement or an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. Avoid windows. If you are outdoors, in a mobile home, or in a vehicle, move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris. This cluster of thunderstorms is capable of producing tornadoes and widespread significant wind damage. Do not wait to see or hear the tornado. For your protection, move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building. tornado warning has been issued until 12:30 a.m. Saturday for the following counties in New Jersey: Hunterdon, Mercer.
A severe thunderstorm that's capable of damage and seek shelter from that storm right now. No additional warnings farther north towards, the rest of Warren or Sussex or Hunterdon counties. So that's good. If we can get this storm out of here and hopefully start to weaken, I think the severe threat will be over, and then we'll have the lingering flooding that will be ongoing. And just like tornadoes are difficult to see at night, and Mark and I touched on this earlier, rain is tough to see at night, or at least flooded roadways. You never know,
The National Weather Service in Mount Holly, New Jersey has issued a tornado warning for southeastern Hunterdon County in northwestern New Jersey, northwestern Worcester County in central New Jersey, Somerset County in northern New Jersey, north central Middlesex County in northern New Jersey, central Bucks County in eastern Pennsylvania until 12:30 a.m. At 11:49 p.m., severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado is located over Gardenville, or 20 miles northwest of Trenton, moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. Hazard, tornado. Source, radar indicated rotation. Impact, flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. This dangerous storm will be near Durham and Lumberville around 11:55 p.m. New Hope, Stockton, and Rowena around midnight. Sargentville around 12:05 a.m. Sandbrook around 12:10 a.m. Flemington around 12:15 a.m. Clover Hill around 12:20 a.m. Belmead around 12:25 a.m. Summerhill, Bridgewater, Manville, Flagtown, and White House Station around 12:30 a.m. Other locations impacted by this tornadic thunderstorm include southbound Brook, Raritan, Lambertville, and Bernardsville. Take cover now. Move to a basement or an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. Avoid windows. If you are outdoors, in a mobile home, or in a vehicle, move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris. This cluster of thunderstorms is capable of producing tornadoes and widespread significant wind damage. Do not wait to see or hear the tornado. For your protection, move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building. Repeating, a tornado warning has been issued until 12:30 a.m. Saturday for the following counties in New Jersey: Hunterdon, Mercer.
What will or won't be confirmed. I mean, there is severe thunderstorm damage. There are power outages. There isn't a whole lot of thunder and lightning activity with this. So with 2 minutes left, let's just kind of recap here what's going on. Let's show you what we hope is the last tornado warning. We cannot guarantee that. Although if you are north and west of this box, I think you're in the clear. So the threat might shift a little farther east into New Jersey. So there's your tornado warning right now. Central Bucks County, northeast of Doylestown was the storm we were watching. That's going to cross the river into parts of Hunterdon County. Lehigh Valley, Berks County, flooding would be the biggest lingering threat for the next few hours, and that really applies for anyone across the rest of eastern Pennsylvania, back edge of the rain coming in. If you are in this warned area, east central Bucks County, northeast of Doylestown, south of I-78, Hunterdon, Morris, Hunterdon, and Mercer and Somerset counties. That's the area where those severe storms or the heavy downpours have capability of producing some strong and damaging winds and possibly a tornado. Everyone else, be on the lookout for some flooded roadways, and I think it's best advice to just stay in tonight. Report any damage to either us here at weather@wfmz.com or your National Weather Service. You can log on to their website, and they have a very easy to report site, or your local emergency
And
manager.
if there are news-related things, streets that are blocked, trees that are down, trees down on homes. We've seen an awful lot of that this year. You can also email news@wfmz.com. It's as simple as that, and we'll keep following this tonight.
All right, so Big Ticket will be coming up next. We'll have a report if there is any damage, and we have our news crews out throughout the night. 69 News Weekend Edition Sunrise tomorrow morning for the latest on the storm, what happened, and if there is a cleanup necessary. And again, the AccuWeather channel is where I will be updating you on the storm. I'll invite Rob to stay if he wants to, since he has his green screen. Green belt now.
A green belt. I don't know. I'm getting my first experience, and I've started off pointing at all kinds of wrong things. There's the red area. That's how much I know meteorologically speaking.
There you go.
Red spot.
You're in the red area. Again, take shelter right now. You can follow us on the AccuWeather channel. Coming up next on 69, the Big Ticket.
I think, you know what, I'm gonna call it here, so thank you pretty much for watching this scary storm, and thank God the tornado, or if there was even a tornado, it didn't hit us. So within the coming days, I'll give an update video on how things are going, but yeah, thank you for very much for staying for over an hour covering this footage of this horrific tornado. I will, like I said, I will, give an update tomorrow afternoon, or tomorrow morning, to see how things are doing. So, with that, guys, be safe, turn around, don't drown, and I will see you tomorrow.